guys, and welcome to another video on learning and learning technologies. So today we are going to be looking at the question of how do you create a learning sharing culture? Very, very important in light of the following problem that companies have. So what we know is that millennials entering the workforce, 50% of them are thinking that within 2 years they're going to leave the workforce or leave the company that they're working for. So the reality is that when people move on from a job, it costs the company a lot of money. And so the knowledge that they have about the customers, about the process, about the other people's knowledge within the company is something we really want to hold on to, okay? So when knowledge leaks out of our companies, it costs us real money because we have to recruit, we have to rehire, we have to retrain, and all of that just leaks out of our companies. Yeah. So the key thing is how do we retain that knowledge? How we retain that knowledge is creating a knowledge sharing culture, okay, which is proactive and positive and people want to be part of. So the reality is that if you have a culture in your business where individuals are hoarding their growth, innovation and the pace of change is held back. So what we want to do as people that own learning development, what we want to do is we want to actively promote our subject matter experts to share their knowledge, okay? Because of the very simple reason that if we don't, we're not going to grow so fast, we're not going to be so innovative. So as learning and development, it's not just training programs that we're responsible for, it's also getting that really vital, important knowledge, that intimate knowledge that our employees have about our clients, our processes, to be shared so that new people coming through can upskill, they can get up to speed quicker, right? So we are responsible for that as well. And so the promotion of knowledge sharing is very much within the remit of what L&D should be doing. So the first thing is how do we actually go about doing this, okay? So a really easy and simple way is to put a knowledge sharing platform in place. And the great thing is with, the web, it's fairly simple to do that. But we have to provide a platform for sharing that knowledge. Now, a lot of companies, when we first say to them, right, have you got a platform for sharing the knowledge, either post a training course or just generally as part of your, business as usual? They'll say things like, oh no, the problem is what happens if people share inappropriate knowledge? And our response to that is that every culture has a group norm. Every culture has a way of behaving. So I want you to imagine in the real world how people behave in your canteen, at lunch. They don't behave inappropriately. They don't pull down their pants and they don't do inappropriate things, right? And it's the same thing online. By putting in a knowledge sharing platform, you're not going to get people behaving inappropriately because that is not the vibe of the tribe, right? So it just generally does not happen. So you shouldn't be scared of an outlying thing happening and not putting in a knowledge share platform. So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to put in a knowledge sharing platform, okay, where people can go in and everybody is born equal, right? Everybody gets a slice of the cake and the ability to basically participate in that knowledge sharing community. That's the first thing you've got to do. Second thing you've got to do is everybody should have the ability to have a voice. In some of the other videos that we've done, we've talked about Bloom's taxonomy and the importance of people being able to share how they're applying knowledge, okay? So it's really important in this knowledge sharing platform that we have is that we are trying to grow more experts, okay? We are trying to make it an inclusive environment. This isn't about selecting a couple of, subject matter experts and only them that are going to be able to participate in that community. No, that's not the right way. The right way is to get everybody to have the option to participate. So everybody starts off as equal. Everyone starts off in a situation where they could be the most heavily promoted and, seen as subject matter experts. Okay, so everybody needs to have a voice. The next thing that we need to do is we need to gamify the experience. Okay, now why do we need to gamify something? So we talk to a lot of different prospects and they say to us, we've got a social platform. We've got a social platform, nobody uses it. Well, why don't people use it? People don't use it because it's not gamified. There is no reward and there is no recognition for going onto that platform and actually sharing your knowledge. So one of the key things that we need to do is we need to take responsibility for promoting the social conversations. How do we do that? We reward the behavior we want, okay? So we can use gaming mechanics, we can use levels, we can use status, we can use leaderboards, we can use XP, we can have different type of profile pictures. What we're trying to do is we are trying to give status and kudos and reward and the feel-good factor for those people that actually engage with the learning community. So just providing a platform is not necessarily enough to drive participation. And gamification is a great way, gaming mechanics are a great way of getting and consistently getting that social interaction and encouraging the broadest possible community of people to actually come into the community and talk about the learning culture, okay? So gamification, very, very important in enhancing the social experience. So if you've got a social platform that doesn't have gamification and you want to get it buzzing, one way of doing that is adding gamification. The fourth thing is that everybody likes to feel good, right? We all like to feel good. Yeah, we like to be praised. We like to be rewarded. We like to be acknowledged for the things that we do. So don't think that a social community is just going to happen by itself. It doesn't. It takes an adult in the room. It takes a facilitator in the room to keep pushing back and saying, thank you for your contribution. You've been rewarded. We care about the time it's taken you to put that long blog post, that video of you doing X, Y, Z. These are important things. You know, praising somebody for the time it has taken them to apply their knowledge, show how they've, used that knowledge to increase profits, to increase revenue, to make work culture a safer place. This is important stuff, okay? So don't think that it will automatically happen if you haven't got somebody that is actually responsible for actually giving back and celebrating and thanking people for the time they've spent in that community. Because nobody is going to do something if they don't get rewarded, thanked, and get status for it, yeah? So this celebrating user-generated content is incredibly important. And there are lots of things, on our platform, for example, that can happen automatically. I'm going to give kudos if you've done one social post. I'm going to give more kudos if you do 10. I'm going to do more if you do 20. So some of it you can automate, but some of it also needs to be a facilitator within that community actively going in and recognizing great behavior, be it the first time or be it the 90th time. The next thing that we need to do is we must get key stakeholders involved. So if I'll give you a great example of this. So we've got a big telco client and the MD of that business actually was one of the first people to go in to the social stream and ask questions of people. And what happened? What do you think happens if the leaders of that community and key stakeholders get involved in the social community? That's where everyone wants to be. So one of the first things that you need to do when you're creating a social community is make sure that the leaders in your organization, the key stakeholders, are bought in. And one of the things I've learned over the years is often if you get those that are most resistant to being part of the community from the get-go, often what will happen is because you've broken them down first and they are leading the community, A, they change their opinion of sharing their knowledge on social, but B, people will say, wow, you got him to be part of this social community or her to be part of this social community. He's leading a social forum. Wow, that's incredible. And if they do lead, then you get more of their followers or more of their team to follow in behind them. So don't be scared of getting the most difficult stakeholders involved first. Yeah, don't be scared of doing that, because if you can, then that will allow you to create, a forum that people are like, whoa, you bit off the hardest task, right? Don't expect that to happen if you don't push for it. And if you don't ask for it, right? You need to ask for these people's involvement. You need to set them challenges and be specific about what you want them to do. Make it easy for them to promote themselves and get glory on your platform. And remember that not all people are equally as confident on these social forums. So if there is somebody you particularly want on your social forum and you can't get it, you need to be very explicit of how, when, what you need from them. And if you are, that will enable them to gravitate towards the social platform a lot easier, right? So don't be scared of being very, very explicit about what you want from your stakeholders in order to get them involved. The next thing that we can do is we can use competition and we can use prizes. So we've talked before in videos about intrinsic versus extrinsic rewards, but certainly we have seen, in certain areas of the world, that extrinsic rewards are really part of the way business works. And so don't be scared of saying, look, if in order to get my first post, in order to get a customer's testimonial, in order to get a video on, a how-to video, in order to get an objection handling video, the best video or the best piece of content, we're going to give an Amazon voucher. We're going to give something else. There's no harm in doing that, because what it can do is it can set, some expectations, it set a bit of competition, but also by the same token, don't worry about not giving extrinsic rewards, because if you reward people by status, if you reward people about pouring glory onto them in the community, again, you're going to get the same, you're going to get similar an output. But just remember that using competitions and prizes is something you should think about it. Is it right? Is it not right? What are you trying to achieve with it? And it's an important part of getting that social community going. The seventh thing is make mentoring part of the promotion process, okay? So the best way to make an initiative succeed is to explicitly ask for something to happen. So in this case, what we're asking is for experts to actually prove that they've mentored another employee. So in some of the ways that we've seen this being used is things like sales plans. So people uploading their sales plans, the sales managers may then comment on the sales plan so that you can see what's going on, what other people are doing. So a really good example of actually showing how people have used that knowledge, but then also how that knowledge has been rationalized, understood, by the wider community. So mentoring is also really important, and it will encourage subject matter experts as well. So the fact is that if you do have a knowledge sharing community, that you are going to be able to innovate faster, you're going to be able to change faster, you're going to have much more joined up thinking. What we can't have is L&D being owned centrally. It can't be owned by one or two people in the organization. Learning and development is something we need to push down and make everybody responsible for. And the only way to do that is by providing a platform that is engaging, is fun, is gamified, and gets people wanting to be involved in learning. That really should be our mission. Because as we've said time and time again, learning is not a moment in time. If we're going to combat the forgetting curve, and if we're going to make innovation flourish, and we're going to make change happen quickly, we need to communicate. And we do that by social learning and sharing best practice. Okay guys, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you soon. Hi guys, my name's Juliette Denny, and I'm from a company called Growth Engineering. I hope that you enjoy these videos. I hope you give it a big thumbs up. I also hope that you comment and you give us some questions, because otherwise, how am I going to know what you want to learn about in future? So I want your comments and I want your feedback. And then most importantly, it would be really great if you could subscribe to the channel. And then when I'm delivering out new content, and hopefully I'm answering questions that you guys have asked me, you'll know when I post another video. So thank you very much. And thank you for being part of my learning tribe.